few people watching, Rob. All right, welcome to Des Moines Capitals hockey on a Saturday night as we're quarantining. And Rob Paul's Tony Scott going to do something different. We're bored, so we're going to talk some hockey in our new studio here. Rob, what do you think of the studio?
Great virtual studio Tony's got set up here, and hopefully bring you some exciting stuff here on a Saturday night, as it's something different than watching reruns of movies or no sporting events. As we'll talk about what we're going to get into with hopefully some innovative stuff people are doing sporting wise.
And if you guys have any questions, feel free to send us a text or put it on the chat if I can figure out how to put the chat together here again. It's been a while since we've had to do this stuff, so that's not what I wanted to pull up. Thanks, Bingo.
We'll get kicked off the air here in the first few minutes. But we got a lineup here for you tonight. Going to talk a lot about the Capitals season, the tournament itself, and then we got Coach Himmelson that's going to stop by and audio chat with us.
Yeah, so Capitals, both teams made the state tournament. We're just kind of going over. I'm going to turn this one down so he gets on. That sounds a little bit better. Kind of going and just looking at our team record for the season. The Capitals JV team, 24-6 and 2 shootout losses. I'd say that's a pretty good season, and the varsity 21-11, and wouldn't really complain about that either. But go up to the state tournament, and JV ended up getting third, and varsity got beat by Kansas City first round. Kansas City ended up winning the varsity tournament, so hats off to the Kansas City Jets. They were a number 2 seed, and Cedar Rapids a number 5 seed that made it to the finals. So not any of the number 1 seeds made it to the finals, and as everybody complained about the Dubuque team, they made it to the finals, number 8 seed, kind of playing their varsity team there, and we all know how everybody felt about that. But who was it? Waterloo ends up knocking them off in the finals, 3-1 hockey game, and congratulations, Waterloo Warriors, for a JV state tournament win.
It kind of just echoed the. What you were saying about, the 5 seeds getting in and the 8 seed getting in on the JV. It just goes to show you the Midwest Hockey League, how competitive it was this year. Both I'd say JV and varsity wise. There was a couple teams at the bottom, that struggled to win games, but for the most part, I would say the 8 teams that got in were, it was anybody's tournament, so. Really good tournament this year, and not where we wanted to be as far as the Capitals, but I think our young players learned a lot.
Well, welcome. You guys might have saw in the right-hand corner of your screen there, Coach Himmelson, the defensive coach for the Capitals, just joined us, and welcome, Coach Himmelson.
Hi guys, thanks for having me.
Turn my speaker back on so I can hear you. Can you hear us? Hey, I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Coach Himmelson, kind of looking at your stats here. We were going over that before we went on the air here. You got some impressive stats playing in the juniors and for Clarkson and some East Coast Hockey League teams. Do you remember all the teams you played for?
Um, yes, my first year was a little bit of a suitcase, so I don't bring that up. I started somewhere and ended somewhere different, and there's a
Yeah,
few
I think you
teams in
started
between.
out in the Southern Professional Hockey League with the Tulsa Oilers, and by the end of the year, you were with Greenville Road Warriors.
Well, I opened camp in Oklahoma City with Edmonton's farm team. Then I went to Tulsa in what was the CHL back then.
Yep.
Then I went to Knoxville, which was the SPHL. And then I went to Greenville. And then when Greenville season ended, I went up to Hartford to skate, but no games
So,
there.
yeah, we're just
But I
kind
got I logged the air miles.
of.
Frequent flyer miles.
Yeah.
So your last year playing for the Icemen, did you really play 71 games in a season?
Yes. Actually,
Oh.
73 counting preseason, and the only game I missed, I got healthy scratched. Too many
Did your
turnovers.
parents did your parents complain because you got healthy scratched? I'm just
um,
curious.
well,
No, let's not go there.
that's a way of life when you get to that level. It just happens.
So how's your off season going?
Well, we
Until
went from. I was joking with Derek today that we went from hockey season and work and no free time to now we just sit around the house all day.
yeah, you're right, and that's
I need an in between.
and you can see how I was bored, so I decided to do a broadcast here. We were just kind of talking about our season. I guess you can't really. I guess people can complain, but it won't do much good. But JV wise, 24-6, and varsity 21-11. There was always room for improvement, but that's not a bad season for either one of those teams.
No, two very different teams as far as makeup and skill set and what wins games for them. So it'll be interesting
So,
moving
Coach,
forward.
if you would talk about the JV team just a little bit and what you're seeing out of that JV team, for the future of the Capitals and you talked about skill sets and what they needed to do to win games and just kind of go into that a little bit for us on what the JV team brings to the table and what their strengths were.
Yeah, the JV team was a very up and down the lineup, hard-working group of guys. Not that the varsity wasn't, but they didn't have we'll say the top level that we had in the varsity. So we had to win games 2-1, and we figured out ways all season that was going to be our identity, was going to be to play good defense. And I think that's a really good makeup of a team moving forward to compete in the state tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. I think when you think of the JV team, a lot of strong goaltending, backed up with strong defense. So talk about those guys.
It was easy having, and we had I think two of the top three JV goalies in the state or in the league. Um, so that's nice to always have someone that your team has confidence in. And then it wasn't just the defense; it was team defense that was being played. I don't know what the final numbers for penalties were, but I didn't feel like we were that often, which helped. So we had a smart team. Um, and we just played good team defense overall. We limited scoring chances. You can't expect to let up 4 goals a game and score 5 to win. So games we had that we only let up, under 2 goals, you're going to win most of those games.
Well, you ask about penalties, and we provided.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
Des Moines Capital JV team averaged about 11.6 penalty minutes per game, and that was below the division average of 13.6. So Very important to stay out of the box if you want to get your offensive momentum going.
And our goals against was number 1 in the league with 1.44 goals against.
Yeah, pretty easy when you only have to score 2 goals a game to win.
Power play, not the best, but 9th in the league power play wise. Penalty kill was 3rd, and goals per game were 8th in the league. So,
yeah, I think we'll take it any time you can get a 92% penalty kill. You're doing really well on defense on your penalty kill then.
oops, I see
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
buffering a little bit here.
Yeah, we had some strong players on the kill side that could get the puck down the ice and block shots, and that was an advantage for us.
Well, how about the we're kind of going through some stuff here. There should be some varsity stats there, too.
Here's some more, since
JV-wise.
Coach Himmelson, still JV, defensive-wise, goals allowed per game, we were at, 1.44. Save percentage was at 92%, which is phenomenal for a JV team. And then shots allowed per game was 18. You're doing really well then.
Yeah, that was the recipe from earlier in the year that they found out that's how we have to win. So we didn't have too many guys on that team trying to do it themselves. We didn't have guys trying to stick handle out of our own zone and take high risk plays. They just knew how they had to play to win.
Yeah, and you bring it up about the intangibles that they bring to the table and just that team mindset of not, I think I say this to Tony all the time. It's easy to be a goal scorer. It's hard to be an assist leader. So the more guys that try to be the assist leader makes the team overall strong. I believe what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I'll say without much direction from the coaching staff on this, the guys on JV really figured out what their roles are on the team. And that's huge because you know what you can expect from most of the guys day in and day out.
With the JV team, with the varsity team, I guess, losing 10 seniors, got a lot of roles to fill next year. How do you feel about the JV team and what they've learned this year and the shoes they got to fill next year? Do you think they're ready to go on board and take over that varsity role?
We said it in some of the meetings and the coaches talking that it'll be a very different looking team. It won't be as offensive score on the rush kind of team. But I think we are returning a team that's going to defend well, guys that are going to know where they sit in the lineup, guys that are going to do their job in the lineup more consistently, and potentially could be a better team.
Well, I know you got some good goaltending coming up with a senior goaltender, and we'll have 2 junior goaltenders next year. And our 2 junior goalies coming up, they'll pretty much split the time this year in net and let very few goals in. So we definitely have goaltending on our side for next year for sure.
Yeah, as long as they wake up on time for them, fine.
Yes. Yes. Yes, as long as they wake up on time for the bus.
That happens to the best of us. I remember when I was playing college football, we were traveling, ready to get on a plane in Des Moines. I played at Drake, and so we were getting on a flight to go to a game, and I forgot the time, and I got a call saying I better scoot it on to the airport or I wasn't going to make it. And so I think it happens to every athlete at some point in their career where you miss a time, and you learn from it rather fast, especially when you got to run all the steps of Drake Stadium the following week.
I think our players got tired of running the steps this year. Well, should we move on to the varsity here? Got varsity 21-11. Your scorer and leader was Clark Kruger with 31 goals. As long as Clark was on, we were in pretty good shape. But Brent Baxter there, too, with 9 power play goals and 3 shorthanded goals. Good goaltending this year from all of our goaltenders. Where's our... I don't know where our stats are for that, Rob. Up there. There they are. We're new at this stuff. We've never done a broadcast like this before.
Goals per game, we were, in the middle of the pack, we were 8th in the league at 4.22 goals per game. Goals against, we were 6th at 2.53. Our power play, though, was number 1 at 26.4. And penalty kill, we were down a little bit at 11th at 82%.
And before I forget, Brad Kruger says, "Nice work, Coach."
I take credit for the power play, not the penalty kill.
Say that again. I didn't hear you.
I take credit for the power play, not the penalty kill.
Penalty kill, we'll blame that on Coach Elliott. That's a joke.
And really, we talked about penalty and minutes, and both squads did a pretty good job of staying out of the penalty box for the most part. Des Moines Capitals came in at the end of the season at 12.75 minutes per game, and the league average was 14.29. So below the league average there. Some of those teams, they make it kind of easy to come in below the average, but still a pretty good job by the Capitals.
What else can we talk about here, Rob? Anybody out there that's watching, if you have a question, make sure you put it on either the chat, the YouTube chat, or the Facebook chat.
Yeah, something you want us to touch on or a question?
Just let us know.
In.
We're bored just like you guys are. Everybody's home quarantine here, and Rob and I are staying away from each other, at least a few feet here. I don't know if it's our 6-foot mandatory, but we're washing it down with some adult beverages tonight.
Well, you talked about defense a lot on the JV squad, and really not that bad on the varsity squad either. We finished at goals allowed per game was 2.5, which was above the league average. It was 3.6. Save percentage was 90%, 0.9. And then shots allowed per game were 25, which was just below the division average was 29.49. So, the division we were in too, there was really no cupcake games for us.
No. We didn't have Okoboji in our league, we didn't get to play Okoboji this year, so a lot of teams racked up some special team points and so forth playing Okoboji this year, but our stats are pretty solid, I guess. Played some good teams.
Yeah, I thought Ames was improved this year as well.
Yeah, Ames has done a nice job on their program up there, and I'm sure they wanted to make the state tournament, but they have definitely turned around, and they gave us a run for our money a few times.
Well, let's talk a little bit about this varsity team this year, and just about, you talked about some of the intangibles that the JV squad had. Coach, if you could touch a little bit on the intangibles of some of those, some of the seniors and juniors on this varsity team, and even some of the younger players that contributed, throughout the year on the varsity squad.
Yeah. We had a good group. We had a good flashy group this year that when we got scoring in bunches, which is always good. So if you can, get one or two real quick in a game, you knew that you were going to get 4 or 5 in the game, which was a positive. As players get more skill and they go from JV to varsity, playing defense becomes more difficult. So you have to put more commitment to it. At times we did it, and we were successful. At times we struggled as not necessarily just defensemen, but as team defense. Um, we had what I thought was probably the best goalie in the league. So to give up on a lot of nights 4 goals a game against good teams is tough. It's tough to win that way. You rely on your scores to score quite a bit in a game if you're going to give up 4. A good recipe for success there. But when we did bring it all together, we had a lot of guys that surprised us this year. That played really well. We thought they were going to play minutes-wise, played above what we thought they were going to contribute to the team, and it was nice to see.
Got a couple of questions here. Somebody, Ben Porp, wants to know who had the best rookie haircut. And Noe had a pretty good one. They all had pretty good ones, but I think my favorite was our goaltender, Noe.
Did he have the dog haircut? Was his the dog? Or was his the
monk
haircut?
I like
the monk. He had the monk haircut. Gabe Myers had a good one, but he didn't let very many people see his haircut. And then somebody wants to know about our banquet, and we were talking about our banquet. With everything going on, our board is going to meet this upcoming week and talk about the banquet, but Rob's in this field of fighting this corona disease out there. I don't see how we're going to have a banquet here in 3 weeks, but they could decide different. But I don't know. I would have to say we'd probably be best to stay away from each other here in 3 weeks and let this virus fade out and maybe try to get something rescheduled for June or July or sometime down the road.
Yeah, I think we want to celebrate these young men that played this season, obviously, but celebrating it and putting people at risk is probably not the order that we want to do things in. But we'll let the board decide that, and hopefully, if not in 3 weeks, we maybe do it in 3 months. So.
And somebody asked about tryouts. That has not even been discussed yet about if tryouts will be rescheduled. Tryouts a long ways down the road, into May. So hopefully by end of May we actually can have tryouts. That will be something we'll have to figure out later on down the road. But right now they're still on. And somebody else voted Adams with the best haircut. I forgot about Adams' haircut.
Well, I had some suggestions from my nephews on our production already to get some skits in here. So we'll have to wait for Coach Spring to get some skits going on our feed here.
Yeah, Coach Spring, he couldn't go on tonight. He's got family coming in town. He is getting married this upcoming Friday. So, and he has going to be a small wedding. Was going to be a big wedding, but with the coronavirus going around, they are just going to have family members there. Very small wedding, and that's probably the best for everybody.
Disappointing.
Yes, we're all looking forward to
it. I'm sure you guys, Coach Himmelson and the rest of the coaches, had some roasts ready for him, I'm sure.
Well, anybody else have any questions? Or Coach Himmelson, do you have anything else? If not, we might sign off here. And for the first time, I don't think it went too bad.
Yeah, something exciting Tony was talking about before we went on the air is, trying to figure out there's no live sports right now.
Oh, yeah.
But this is out of hockey, but it's kind of interesting what NASCAR is going to do. They're going to have all their drivers basically playing a simulation video game, racing
Really?
in a simulation type. Should be interesting.
Yeah, that's going to be on tomorrow at 1:30 or 12:30 our time. You have to look. I think it's going to be on Fox Sports on DirecTV. I think that's 2:19, but that should be very interesting.
Did you see that they're bringing back ESPN the Ocho tomorrow?
What are they bringing back? You cut out there, Coach.
ESPN the Ocho.
Oh, are they really?
Yeah, they're doing like lawn games and darts and pool and all the weird no one thinks of.
Wow.
Absolutely. Those are things I call that are hobbies. You know, even I'll even say this: bowling. If you can drink while you're performing that sport, it's not really a sport in my mind, I guess. So lawn darts. Well, actually, you need the real old-fashioned lawn darts, the ones with
Yeah,
the spikes,
the
full contact lawn darts.
the ones that would go through your hood of your car when you threw them when they landed.
Right.
Somebody has a question for you, Coach Hilmison. What was your favorite part of the season? Mine's always the Turkey Cup. Winning the Turkey Cup never gets old for me.
Yeah, that's probably it. It's impressive how big hockey is in Des Moines on that one day.
Yeah,
And that's it.
yeah, it's the time that all the high school kids come out to support their buddies and anybody. You know, if we could just build that momentum and get it for more than just one day.
I
Coach
did enjoy
Himmelson,
the
did you
Saturday
have
morning.
any playing high school hockey? Did you have anything like the Turkey Cup or anything close to it?
No, it's high school hockey in New York is not as well organized as it is out here for the most part. Each school has their own. It's school sanctioned. So depending how the schools handle it, potentially, but no, nothing like the Turkey Cup.
Brody Styles checked in, so number 27, Brody Styles. So he just got back from Jamaica. So hi, Brody. And I see
Be
Tyler
nice.
Scott with Des Moines Printing. He jumped online here. He's watching. So it's nice to see some other people come online here. What have you been doing for sports, Coach Himmelson, with no live sports? And I know Coach Spring's probably saving some money. He has nothing to bet on, so.
He's betting on British cricket right now.
Lawn darts.
He's going to be betting on lawn darts tomorrow.
We haven't done anything. We watched a couple shows. God, nothing. I'm already bored. It's day 2 for me in the house, and I'm bored.
I'm bored, too.
Yeah, I saw something the other day where guys were doing their brackets on movie brackets, you know, old movies, and pairing movies up against each other. And so I guess the idea is you watch all those movies, and the next one, that one advances above the other. So it's kind of like your 64 team bracket, but it's movies.
Rob, your wife, Chris, wanted to know if a Rathbun trip was still on for middle of June. Or no, July. We're doing that in July, aren't we?
Yeah, July, over my birthday.
Well, this crap's got to be over by July, I would hope.
Well,
if we're not, we're in big trouble.
I didn't want to talk a lot about the coronavirus, but I'll give the plug here that because I'm in medical and I'm hearing all this stuff from the state and from the federal government is the public service announcement I'm going to say is the next 1 to 2 weeks they're telling us is going to dictate the next 3 to 4 months. So heed everything they're telling you. Stay at home.
Yes.
As I'm sitting here in Tony's basement.
Yeah, we're not touching each other.
Yeah.
So we should be good.
It is serious, and if we can flatten the curve of this thing out, a lot less people will be hurt by it.
Special shout out to Jenny Young. She just jumped on. Charles Burnell was watching. We're getting a few more people here as they jump on.
We're going to have to continue now.
We're going to have to continue. We need some more questions.
Yeah.
I can do play-by-play, but this is tough trying to do 20 minutes of it, talking just hockey. And
we need
there's no
we need a
current
producer.
hockey to talk about.
What'd you say, Coach?
Then with no current hockey to talk about, it's even tougher.
No, there's nothing.
Well, there's not even anything in the news of hockey. I've heard some rumors that the NHL was going to try to do a big tournament, a one and done type tournament. But I think those are just rumors right now.
We can talk about the Des Moines Buccaneers as their season got canceled and they were fighting for a playoff spot. I did talk to their head coach, Peter, and he was very disappointed. He thought they had the team to make a run for it and make the playoffs, but we'll never know now as they canceled the rest of the regular season for the Buccaneers and, of course, playoffs. So we'll have to wait until next year to see how the Buccaneer team can come out. But thank God we got our season over a couple of weeks before this all hit, or well, I'm sure we wouldn't have had a state tournament either. So I was going to do a shout out. I had it on my notes too. I might have said this already. Quad Cities coach, Coach White over there, retired after 20 years coaching the Quad City Blues. So any coach that can stick around for 20 years, hats off to them, or him, I guess. So that's something else.
You know, and I just want to give a plug a little about to the rest of the teams in the Midwest. For the most part, you know, what people don't understand, to do what we do every broadcast to bring you Capitals hockey takes quite a bit of planning and setup for Tony, and much of that comes to the cooperation of the other teams when we're on the road.
Oh, yeah.
And for the most part, everybody's in that league is really gracious with giving us the spot or the Wi-Fi or whatever we need. There may be a few that we're keeping in mind that didn't give us the Wi-Fi, but for the most part, everybody's been really gracious. And hats off to Tony that we're able to do this every season for you guys out there.
Well, it's fun for us, so I know that. Dave DiCarlo wants to know what's up with the new Buccaneer Arena. Dave, if I knew that, I'd be a rich man.
We're not going to make news tonight,
no,
are we?
I have no idea. Your guess is good. I know nothing more than anybody else does, and I'm sure the Buccaneers are working on something.
It's pushed back another 2 years now.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong playing in big old Buccaneer Arena, good old Buccaneer Arena, but they definitely do need a new arena eventually down the road, and I'm sure they're still working on it. So I don't know. I have no idea. So, and Jenny Young says they're praying that their baseball season gets started. That'd be that'd probably be a safe sport to play right now, baseball.
Yeah, I think you know, they've already canceled the College World Series in Omaha. So I think a lot of spring sports are up in the air still, but probably leaning toward a lot of cancellations, unfortunately.
Is school
Coach
canceled for
Himmelson,
the
you
year yet?
excited about next year, Capitals team?
I think it'll be a very different team. Losing 10 guys, especially on the varsity level. And I'm not saying it potentially could be a better team. I don't know yet. Depending how guys take the summer. So if any of them are listening, they better take the summer seriously.
And somebody else threw on the chat here. There is something we can talk about. I don't know. We get a lot of our information on the draft from some of the coaches that coach these younger teams, but I hear there's a lot of good talent coming up for the next coming year, and I think both Des Moines Capitals and the Des Moines Oakleys are going to have a good draft, and I hear there's some great players, so we definitely got 10 roster spots to fill from our varsity team, and hopefully we can fill it with some good upcoming players from these Bantam teams. I don't know. We don't. We rely on our coaches that coach those teams and some other sources, but we'll find out come May what our draft picks are looking like. We never know until people start signing up who's coming back. So,
well, it won't be a lack of you know Caleb, my son, putting on some size. I'm sure he's in the Kruger. I'd tell the story. He was with the Krugers over spring break, and every time they finished dinner and there was scraps left over, they just sent them over to Caleb. So, so I guess I appreciated Scott and Betsy by making sure he's maintaining his physique and his weight, I guess.
Jody Webb wants us to
power
mention
forward
TCI
or
Golf
the
Course
defensive
opens
end?
up on Monday if anybody wants some fresh air. So
Well, that's what we were talking about before we went on air. Is that uh, the one sport that distance is you're separated by distance is golf. I mean, so you get in a one or two man uh, group. You can pretty much stay separated from each other.
And Tyler Scouse wants us to mention the top 5 hockey movies.
Oh well.
Ooh.
Slapshot, any of the Slapshot movies. Miracle.
Miracle. It's what your preference is.
The Duck movie.
Mystery Alaska.
Yeah, Mystery Alaska.
The Mighty Ducks.
Mighty Ducks,
Mighty
that's what I was
Ducks.
looking for, yeah. I don't know if they made 1, 2, or 3 of those, but
They made too many of
yeah,
them.
too many, yes.
3.
So,
Well, and then you get into the categories like Goon, that comedies, but yeah.
Coach Himmelson, did you ever have to goon it up out on the ice in your professional career?
Oh, when I tried, it didn't turn out great for me.
Yeah, I did notice in your stats, your last year with Evansville, you had 47 minutes in penalties.
Yeah,
So,
I quickly went from a rookie in the league to 3 years in. You're kind of like a vet, so you have to try to stick up for people.
Oh, Young Blood, too, is another one.
Only 2 fights. Neither of them I'd probably do again.
Emma Young says, Blades of Glory.
Blades of Glory.
Oh, my gosh. Nice job, Emma. Emma, we need cookies. That would help on this broadcast, wouldn't it, if we had Emma's cookies?
Yeah. We're kind of in a shutdown of Emma's cookies right now, I think, though.
Well, Rob, I think this is going to do it for us tonight.
Yeah.
We've been going for 35 minutes. Coach Himmelson, thanks for jumping on here and talking some Capitals hockey and just some random stuff here. Hopefully we can do this
Welcome.
again. I got the brand new studio built, and it's looking good.
Looking great. Virtual.
What
studio.
skyline is that?
We're going to say that is, I'm not sure what skyline that is. You can make it up. Maybe New York. I don't know. Maybe Des Moines?
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah, I don't know. So,
No big buildings. New Mexico.
all right, guys. Thanks for jumping on here and helping us with the broadcast. Coach Himmelson, thanks for jumping on here. We'll have to get Coach Spring on here sometime. He could talk hockey all day long, and we'll never get a word in. So, Coach Himmelson's been in some of those meetings where we don't get a word in at all. So,
We could do this more often during the season, Hockey Live
Yeah.
Talk or something
Yeah.
with Coach Spring and Elliott and Himmelson, and we won't have Stanislav coming.
no, standing now. Who?
Who's that?
The goalie coach.
The goalie coach.
No, we had to shout out to Stanny. He had a bunch of us over last weekend. Him and Coach Himmelson had a big barbecue. Not the prime rib, but the what you have over there, Coach?
Brisket.
Brisket, yes, was unbelievable, and so was the ribs and the chicken. I know all of our wives enjoyed it over there, and just got to hang out and really not talk hockey. And there was no live TV on. That was the first day or two that we had no live anything. So we just kind of hung out and had a few beers and ate some good food. So thanks to Stanislav and Himmelson for putting that together. I know I appreciated it, and all the wives did. So we had a good time.
Welcome.
Somebody wants to know about teams leaving the league. I know nothing about any teams leaving the league. We have our league meeting the end of April, so we'll definitely know more then, and any new teams coming in the league. I know nothing about any teams coming in the league or leaving the team, or league, I guess. All right, that's going to do it for us. We're done. We're going to have some pizza here. Coach Himmelson, thanks for coming on with us. And we'll talk to everybody later.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Coach Himmelson.
Have a good one.
Thanks.
Yep. Stay safe, everyone.